Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, guys? How are things out there in sunny Dublin, wherever you are in the world? Let me know. So, I understand you're looking to learn how to create a killer self tape fast. You're Do come along and join us and subscribe and sign up and all those wonderful things. How are you guys? How are you all this morning? Is everybody well? I hope you are. So, what I wanted to do today was go over a kind of a recap of what it was that we were talking about over the last week or so. And I wanted to go over the four pillars of self taping that are really critical. And then I want to make sure that you can all kind of focus in on those. And then I'm going to pick out each one of those four pillars and give you what I think is the most important things to focus on. So, how are you guys? Anybody out there? Whereabouts are you all from today? Let me know what's happening, who's where. Okay, so what can I tell you? The first thing I want to talk about is the four pillars themselves, okay? There are four pillars to any great self-tape. The producer's point of view as to what exactly it is that the producers or the directors or the casting people are looking for, what they want, because you've got to meet what they want, which will give you what you want, right? Second thing we're going to talk about is the production side of things. The production pillar, the pillar of production, camera, lights, background, editing, uploading, all that sort of stuff. Everything to do with that, microphones, you name it, okay? All that kind of stuff. The third pillar is the psychology principle. And Indra's over there in London. Good to see you, man. How are you? And the psychology principle, literally what happens to your brain prior, during, and after any kind of a self-taping experience. Because I'm sure you'll agree that how you feel before the self-tape makes a difference. Hey, Kieran, how are you? Good morning. How you feel before a self-tape makes a difference. Good morning, Emily, in greyish London. Greyish London. Greyish. Not spectacularly grey, but greyish. Dublin is actually gorgeous. I've been out for a nice walk this morning. It was stunning. And it's just started to cloud over, so who knows? So that kind of thing. The next one I want to talk about is the performance principle. That's the fourth one. So that's obviously the actual the performance itself and what it is that you do to handle that. So as I say, I want to give you those four principles again and choose one thing from each of the things that we've covered. If you haven't watched the previous videos that we've been doing on this, do go and have a little look. Hey, Mike, how are you doing? Where are you from? First time viewer, first time commentator. Good man. How are you? Good morning from the Dace. Where is the Dace? Where is that, Mike? Where are you from? Where is the Dace? Someone, Rob James Capel, has just liked my IGTV video. That's cool. By the way, guys, you do know I'm on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, so, come along. And I know Indra is. Indra's on Twitter. We talk all the time. And Indra's been fantastic. So, guys, so the first thing I want to talk about is the producer's point of view. That's the one thing. What's the one thing that I would suggest is the most important thing in terms of bearing in mind what it is the producers are looking for? The most important thing that you can do is to stand out. I mentioned this story again, I'll tell it again. Shooting Da Vinci's Demons in County Waterford. Welcome from County Waterford. Right, absolutely, of course. How are you doing? So we were shooting Da Vinci's Demons and I took a rather famous casting director out and we sort of talked about all sorts of things relating to casting and to self-taping and to cameras and how you can do that kind of thing. And what she said was two things that it was very interesting. She said, in your photographs, the two most important points are the eyes and the mouth. I'd never come across that. Apparently that was David Lean's tip to her 100 years ago. So now you've just been inculcated. How about that? And I was saying to her, how do actors stand out for you? What is it that they do when they stand out in their auditions or they stand out in their self-tapes? Because that's what you want to do. You want to stand out. She said, the biggest problem I have is convincing actors, and I notice this from coaching too. The biggest problem is convincing actors that actually their uniqueness is kind of great, and that what they do, the way they do it, is really kind of fabulous. She said the biggest mistake actors make is they become all the same. They become also known as white cats in a snowstorm. Imagine, again, I'm going over this because I really want to get this, to drill this in, because it's so important. If you're sitting in a casting office, if you've ever been into one of the large casting, the beautiful Curragh of Kildare, Braveheart country, fabulous. Welcome, Martina. Nice to see you again. So, if you're in the middle of that kind of thing, you want to make sure that you're going to be standing out. You don't want to become this white cat in the snowstorm. The white cat in the snowstorm effect is like, these people have been sitting there for a long time, probably. They've been waiting in the audition, they've been waiting in the self-tape, they've been sitting there a long time. They often do 10, as you know yourself, you go in there and there's 10, 20, 30 people. You look at the list, you see 30, 40 people. And often, because of the way they batch these things, they tend to batch us all in on the same day. Today I'm going to be looking at my potential Hamlets, right? I'm going to look at all the potential Hamlets. That's what they tend to do. Personally, I think that's a bit weird, but there you go. That's what they do. Um, and that's why you want to make sure you stand out, because everybody's probably going to be doing the same thing that you're doing. Whichever tape that is that you're doing, they're all going to be doing the same thing. So you want to make sure you stand out. Really, really, really critical to do that. No more vanilla. No more beige. Stop doing this thing that I call the first level reading, right? When you're doing the first level of something, when you see it, you think about this actual, what's the first level of it? Make sure you take it to the second and the third and the fourth. Use your imagination. Deepen your experience. Deepen what it is that you do. And if you're not sure how to do that, drop me a line. We can talk about those kind of things. If you want to go into coaching with that, that's the kind of thing that we talk about. The second thing is the production side of things. What's the one thing that I would suggest? From this, get a microphone. Get a microphone. And I can listen to this. I often work with actors, and they send me in their self tapes, and when I turn it up really high, this is what it sounds like. Did you get an impression of that? People often, there's a distancing effect, and you can hear it. Okay, you can hear it. It's not that you can't hear it. You can hear that. You can hear that. You can see the tape. You can see what it looks like. It's all okay. The lights are there. Everything's happening. But then you get this little kind of distancing effect, and it takes you away from the person. The microphone is literally is a kind of window into your soul. It's what allows you to connect more deeply. There are a lot of actors who, have extraordinary voices. You think of Richard Burton? Yes, the actual sounds that people make often have an extraordinary effect on people. So don't underestimate the power and the tone that you use in the audition or in the self-tape that you're doing. The sound itself is very critical, highly important. So get yourself the cheapest way to do this is to get what is a lavalier mic at $20. Jump on Amazon. Any of them are pretty good. Most of them are good. Rode is a great make. Sennheiser is a good make. Sony is a good make. Those things are good. You'll be fine. $20, really worth it. And I'm going to highlight this very, very, very importantly for all the women out there. It's so important, specifically for women, to use microphones. There's a reason for that, because of, and we can go into, because of social conditioning, because of the way that, I think because of the way women have been oppressed, to be honest. A lot of talk about oppression these days, isn't there? And you'll notice I'm wearing black, and that's a significant moment for me, and you'll understand why. I'm connected to that idea, totally. So for women, when they actually kind of, they are socialized through all kinds of things, they often learn not to express themselves as fully as often men do. And that often, and I notice this from coaching, one of the things I find particularly with coaching women is there's often a kind of a sort of, this area here, the vocal area, is often an area which is where there's something constrained, there's something held back, there's something, it's where the oppression, as it were, manifests itself. And often the releasing of that is what a lot of the work that I have to do with women in particular is about. And the reason I mention this in terms of microphones is because microphones themselves open up the possibility of expression. And they also, because in the way that the body works, you know, you've got the chest is here, right? As we know, pretty obvious. But if you place your microphone, your lavalier mic, and you know how to do the L, I think I taught you that one. You got to do the L. You place your thumb on your mouth, and wherever your little finger goes, that's where the lavalier goes. Right there, bang in the middle. That's exactly where you want it to go. That was taught to me by a cameraman who worked not for David Lean. Who was it? I can't remember his name. Anyway, he taught me that. Really, really powerful one. Top sound recorders, and that's what they do. You want to make sure that it's there because then it's closer to your mouth and it will pick up more resonance, more sound, more quality, more variety, more tone. And women often tend to take their voices up into the, you know, into higher registers. And when you bring it down, women can use more of the sort of those darker tones, and that adds depth to what it is that they're speaking and how they're speaking. It's a perception as well. It actually sounds better, and we all know, you know, movies are made when the sound is laid. Okay. Now I want a little diversion. I want to just go and talk about a little bit about, you know, what are your favorite television programs? What do you love to watch? Let me know in the comments here. What are your favorite television programs that you're watching at the moment? What is it that you like about them? Why do you like them? What is it that engages you? And also, what about influencers? Who are the influencers that you follow? Apart from me, obviously. But, you know, that kind of thing. Who are the people that you follow? What is it that your interests are? What are you influenced by? Who is it that you follow that, you know, as an influencer? Are there people on YouTube? Are there people on Twitter? Who is it you follow? Who are the people you follow for your acting? Where is it? What are the TV programs you watch? Who are your influencers? And what kind of podcast? Doctor Who. Excellent. That's one of my ambitions is to be in Doctor Who. And we all know why the Daleks never took over the world, don't we? You know why, right? It's absolutely obvious. They've got wheels. They couldn't get upstairs. That's all I know. That's actually, it's not my joke. That's what's his name? Eddie Izzard just told this. He went on a fantastic thing about the Daleks being unable to take over the world because they couldn't get up the stairs. Maybe not. That's the kind of thing. Oh, Blackadder, absolutely. The characters, the voices, the writing, absolutely. Yeah, I love those guys. Anyone else like that? Blackadder. What else have we got? Scandi Drama, Before We Die. Oh, I don't know that one. Before We Die on Walter. Oh, maybe that's on Sky. I've got Sky. Maybe it's on Sky. It's just insanely good. This I like. Emily, you've given me an idea. This is good. Yeah, Scandi. Do you find a lot of actors watch the Scandi dramas? I do. I remember when we did Quirk, I was having a big conversation with all of the, you know, Gabriel Byrne and I were having a chat with the producers, and we were chatting to them, saying, you know, the problem with Quirk is that it's not actually defined. We should define it as being you know, Irish, not Scandinavian drama, but, you know, Irish drama. I, what do we call it? Era noir, you know, something like that. Killing Eve, Arlene's watching. Oh, excellent. Main female lead characters in this push-pull connection. Yeah, exactly. Killing Eve is a big one, isn't it? Absolutely. Massive. Absolutely great. And Emily, it's a cop thriller. Fabulous. Yeah. Those kind of things. What are the influencers? Who do you follow on you know, on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram? Who are the people who light up your life as actors? I'd love to know. Let me know. It's just interesting for me. And what are the podcasts that you follow? Are there podcasts you follow? I follow a lot of political podcasts. I've got a lot of kind of drama podcasts. I've got a screenwriting podcast. I've got a lot of coaching podcasts that I go to as well. Those are kind of interesting. Which kind of things do you go for? I'd love to know. It just helps me understand who you guys are more. What obsesses you? What, you know, where you go? What kind of things keep you going? So keep posting. That's great to know all that stuff. So the third one was the psychology point of view, right? The psychology, Peaky Blinders, yes. Last Tango in Hamilton, Oprah, Mel Robbins. Oh, I love Mel Robbins. Absolutely adore her. She's absolutely sensational. Oprah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is so interesting. all on All 4 Hub, Channel 4. I'm not sure if we can get that in Ireland. Well, maybe I can. I'll have a look into that. That sounds really cool. Looking forward to that. So the psychology of self-taping, okay? As I say, the before, the during, and after of self-taping, equally important. You've got to get yourself into the right state of mind before you go in, be in the right state while you're actually doing it. And when you've finished it, you've got to know how to get rid of it, how to let it go so that it doesn't drag you and hold you back. You've got to move on to the next thing. The most important thing there, Rafe Spall. Yeah, absolutely. I was at drama school with his dad. Tim Spall, absolutely, long time ago. Fantastic. Rafe's great though, absolutely. Um, so the psychology part of it, right, is so important. The most, if I had to choose the one thing, because this is what I'm trying to do today, the one thing in terms of psychology will be the permission stamp. Right? For those of you who are new to this, well, essentially, through the coaching that I do with all the actors that I work with, what I find out is that there's a resistance, there's a reluctance, there's one of my clients actually called it driving with the handbrake on. She found that that's the way that she approached auditions, she approached self-taping, she approached meeting agents, she approached networking in the same way, driving with the handbrake on. Can you relate to that? Does that ring a bell with you guys? Can you feel that? You know, that kind of like the reluctance, that sort of, I want this to be the best self-tape, but I know I can do more, but we're just on the edge of making this fantastic, but. Can you relate to that? Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying? Can you feel that? Do you sense that in your body? Can you hear it? Just let me know if that makes sense to you. Because that resistance, that reluctance is what we need to break through. And one of the best tools for breaking through is what I call the permission stamp. Yeah? It's giving yourself permission to do something, whatever it is, because the resistance is really, yeah, you're right. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Absolutely. Driving with the handbrake on is what often people feel. I often find that when I'm coaching actors that, yeah, Eamon gets it too. Yeah, absolutely. Good man. It's exactly the kind of thing that gets in the way. Oh, interesting. Oh, Schitt's Creek. I just started watching that. It's completely insane. I I loved the first episode. I just thought it was amazing. But you recommend keep going with it, yeah? I'm looking into that. Watching a bit of Fry and Laurie. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, and True Detective season 1 podcast. Mark Mao, I don't know him. Oh, and Joe Rogan. Cool. Excellent. Thanks, guys. Yes, driving with a handbrake on. Arlene, absolutely. Arlene, we can talk about that in our free call when we have that on is it Monday or Tuesday? Anyway, we'll do that. We'll have a look at that because that's so important. We've got to take the handbrake off. That's what this is all about. When you take the handbrake off, you can start to fly. Giving yourself permission is the first step. And giving yourself permission to do something is something you need to practice. You know, you can give yourself permission to relax in super value when other people haven't got their masks on. Siobhan, sorry it's late. I know what you're talking about. I panicked. Siobhan, stop panicking. No need. No need. No need. Okay? It's fine. It's okay. And you're okay. It's okay. Okay? Yeah. Martina agrees. Fantastic. Okay? So that kind of thing, giving yourself permission to do something is something you can practice. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. You can practice giving yourself permission to stay calm. I give myself permission to stay calm in this situation. I give myself permission to be confident in this situation. I give myself permission to fly in this self-tape. And choose words that are specific to you. If, giving yourself permission to fly, that's one of mine. If that doesn't resonate with you, if that doesn't ring a bell, if that doesn't kind of feel kind of accurate, well, let's just do this. What are the things that you can do? What words would you actually say if you wanted to be abandoned and at your best? in an audition or in a self-taping? Which word? Put them down in here. What words would you add to let yourself go, to release, to fly? What words would you use yourself to describe you at your best, you at your released, most accurate self? You know, give yourself permission to fly. I give myself permission to succeed. I give myself permission to be great. I give myself permission to be confident. I give myself permission to be exciting. I give myself permission to be curious. I give myself permission to be powerful. What are you looking for? What are the words you would use? Write them down. The more you write them down, the more they become figured into what it is that you're doing. That's a lot of what we're doing here in this coaching. That's why I mean, of course, I'm not, if you comment, it really helps me because it drives up the YouTube algorithm. I'm absolutely honest about that. But what it also does is it actually let loose, Siobhan says. There you go. Fabulous. To shine. Excellent. Yeah, if you say to yourself before your next self-tape, I give myself permission to let loose, to be free, to let loose. Yeah, Lachlan, I'm going to really enjoy this. Lachlan, how lovely to see you. How are you? I love Lachlan. How are you, my friend? Haven't seen you for a long time. Are you well? Good, good. Hope you are. Okay. To shine. I give myself permission to shine. You probably all know the Marianne Williamson quote. It's one of the big things I talk about. And yeah, be brave, exactly, to be me at my best. Absolutely. When you're really, I'm really going to enjoy this, exactly. You know, give yourself permission to let this stuff happen. When you're performing Shakespeare with no inhibition, interesting. Feel everything, free and joyous. In front of camera, handbrake. Mike, come and have a half-hour free call with me. Come and have one. Come and sign up for one. Kieran, you come and have one as well. To be present, to be free, exactly. These are the kind of things that we want to release. When you come from a real place without that handbrake, that's actually, you know what, to be honest, most of my coaching is literally about taking the handbrake off for actors. That's absolutely the most important metaphor that I can think of for what it is that I would do. And I call myself, sometimes I say, as a coach, what I am, I call myself a kind of like a creative spark plug, right? I'm a creative spark plug and I have a can of WD-40. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you'll be going, he's lost the plot now. Anyone who does, you'll know what I mean. When you've got WD-40, when the locks stick, little squirt of that. When the gate is squeaky, little squirt of WD-40. It opens. It releases. I'm going to write that down. That's quite good. I like that. I'm a creative spark plug with a can of WD-40 in my hand to release the handbrakes of actors. There you go. On the spot. So what I'm talking about is giving yourself permission to be yourself, to be whatever it is that releases you. Find the words. Maybe there was something that, years ago, if you think of your most successful interview, your most successful audition, your most successful self-tape that you were doing, if you go back into that moment right here, right now, just travel back in time to that moment. You know the one. Pick that moment, dive into it, allow yourself to connect to it really deeply and figure out what was it. Ask yourself, what was it that I was actually thinking and feeling as I went in and just flew, or whatever it was. What was I saying to myself inside my mind? What did I say inside my body? What did I feel as I was releasing this? Notice that and then give yourself permission to do that again. More and more and more. Because the more you release yourself, the more the handbrake comes off. And the more the handbrake comes off, the more released you become. Remember we talked about the confidence competence loop? It's just a question of doing it, man. It's all you got to do. Mike, keep, come on, will you come along, sign up, come and have a half-hour call, they're free. Jump on the website, sign up for that, and we'll talk about that. We'll get the handbrake off you. Okay? So the final one, what am I talking? Oh yeah, performance. The performance. This is the fourth pillar. So we've gone through the first three, which is the producer's point of view, the production point of view, the psychology point of view, and now we're talking about performance. So what's the one thing that we can talk about? Well, the one thing I would choose is what I call the focal point. We talked about that exercise the other day. And again, if you haven't seen that, just go back and check. They're all there. They're all there for you. And, please share them. Share them with as many people as you can. It really, really helps me. And I would love that. Okay? Do that. The excellent Mike. Fantastic. Good to see you. We'll see you there. Great. So that's the main thing, the single thing. And it comes from an idea that I read years and years and years ago. I was fortunate enough, when I used to work at the National Theatre in London, I was there at when I just left drama school, we went along to Laurence Olivier's 80th birthday party, which was quite something, I have to say. And I sat about 3 seats away from him. It was quite amazing, just extraordinary. Everybody know who Laurence Olivier was? Maybe you don't. I'm not. Some people don't, but check him out, Sir Laurence Olivier, certainly one of the greatest stage actors of all time. And one of the things in his book that he wrote, because I, of course, like everyone, I read all these biographies, I read everything about all the famous actors and all the people I love and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things he wrote in his book all those years ago, and it's only now I've realized that it's stayed with me all this time, is to choose one thing to make your character stand out. This is what I call, like, if you're looking at the sides, the focal point, the singular focal point. What's the one thing you can do? And you can amplify that. Amplify that. One of the examples, Laurence Olivier was very, very famous for a production that he did. Thank you, Siobhan. Siobhan likes the glasses. I have to tell you, I'm very excited about the glasses. Because I kept losing my glasses and I kept breaking them. And I've now got 3 pairs that I got online. Because, of course, you couldn't go to Specsavers until you realize you can go online. 3 pairs. Oh, come in the post. Not bad. Thank you, Siobhan. Glad you like them. That's why I do them. I do them for you, Siobhan. That's it. So, and his thing, one of the things that he did was to choose something that would be memorable. Now, in his production that he did of Long Day's Journey into Night, which is a hugely famous production that he was in. Those of you who don't know, it's the Eugene O'Neill play. It's 4.5 hours long. I've actually been in it. I've done it. I played the alcoholic brother, which is great. I love doing that. Fantastic part. Except you have a 2-hour wait in the middle of the show, which is really nerve-wracking. And one of the things that Laurence Olivier did was very famous for was standing on the table in the middle of the scene. And he was in his late 70s at that point. He would stand on the table because they had a chandelier with light bulbs in. And he would stand on his tiptoes on the edge of the table, right? So his heels were hanging over the edge, but he was standing with his toes on the table, and he would then change these light bulbs. Now, I don't know about you, but that now just makes me go, oh my God. Just the thought of that. And he did that day in, day out, every single night. In fact, I worked with one of the actors who was in that show, and he told me he never, ever missed it. Ronald Pickup. Never, ever missed it. And there's something about that. I mean, literally, that moment that he stamped his authority on, I didn't see it live, but I read about it and I've seen pictures. It's had that much of an influence on me and an impact on me. So imagine what would happen if you chose one thing to really amplify in your self-tape. Sound good? Another example, again from Laurence Olivier, was that he, I think it was it Richard III? No, it was Lear. He was playing King Lear. And in King Lear, he wanted to play the moment when Lear comes out and he's carrying Cordelia, and we all know the old joke. The first rule of if you're ever going to play, if you're ever going to play King Lear, you've got to make sure you get a lightweight Ophelia, because by the end of 4 hours acting, you're kind of exhausted. You want one is really, really lightweight. So that was his kind of thing. But the other thing is that as you know, Lear comes out from the storm, and he comes out and he says, "Howl, howl, howl, howl." Right? That's the words that's actually written down. So he thought, "Oh, how am I going to do that?" That means I'm going to go howl, 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 and he was freaked out by it. So he thought, I'm going to have a look at this. What is it I can do? How can I assert my authority? How can I stamp? How can I own this? And one of the things he did was he was watching. I think he was watching a documentary, or maybe he'd been to the zoo or something, or heard a story anyway. And it was about a sea otter, the Norwegian sea otter. I remember it. I think that's what it was, Norwegian sea otter. And the Norwegian sea otters, when they scamper around on the ice, right, up in the Arctic or the Antarctic, and when they kind of, they dive in little holes and they get fish and so on. But sometimes what they do is their tongue sticks to the ice, and they hate that. It's the one thing they don't like. And some of these poachers and trappers used to put certain bits of things down to attract these otters. And they would come and their tongue would stick. And when they would stick, they would make this incredible sound that sort of went, this incredible noise, because they hated being, and they were stuck and they were panicking. They were in fear of their life. And he remembered that sound, and he used that sound on stage as Olivier. As King Lear. Isn't that extraordinary? And again, listen to the echo of that. It's that powerful. Okay? So choosing a moment. Don't all go screaming like, Norwegian sea otters in your next self-tapes. That's not the point of it. Not the point of the story. Right? Please don't do that. Okay? But try and think of something that you can do to use your imagination, to use your creativity, to go deeper into your thoughts, deeper into your dreams, to bring up something more extraordinary to go into your self-tape. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? So, anyone else? Anyone thought any more TV programs, influencers, podcasts? Anything else you think out there I should hear about? Let me know. I'd love to know what's going on. Okay, so that really is the overview of those things, the four things. And you can remember, you can get this thing. You can watch it again later, and please tell your friends and spread it. It really does help me. Thank you. Finally, really, I'm just going to say those are the four basics. But the things that make you stand out in self-tapes are really things that no one's seen before, things that are different, things that are unusual, things that are quirky. And some of the things you can think about are things like props. You can think about, if you have got specs, if you have got a hat, what is it that you're doing with them? What do they mean? What does it mean when you take your specs off? What does it mean? Look at the language, your gestures, your physical body. Start to see what it is that you're doing. What happens if you play a scene and you're sitting back? What happens if you're slightly to one side? What happens if you're like a poker? What happens if you're too relaxed? See what I'm saying? I'm talking about utilizing and using this little frame that we've got and use it as a stage. It's a complete stage. You can do anything. You start thinking about your entrances and exits, the way you come into a scene, the way you're discovered in a scene. Maybe you sit down into it. It's different. That's visually different. What I would suggest a lot of you guys do is if you hook up with each other and shoot each other, and then critique each other's self-tapes. The more you do this stuff, the more you get yourself on camera, the more you do that, the easier and better things will become. And for those of you, I wanted to say, by the way, a lot of you, um, if any of you came to see the Breakthrough to Success stuff that I did on Facebook, if any of you want to, you can drop me a little 1 minute or 2 minute video testimonial, and you will get that free €97 training course absolutely free. And what it's about is the 9 obstacles that I've discovered in the coaching that stand in the way of most actors. And I'm going to, if any of you here, because you've come along this week, if any of you here as well, you don't have to have gone. You can just do me a testimonial. You know, it can be a testimonial about this, and I will give you this free training. It's 9 hours of really, really detailed things that you can do, right, to help you. And let me just cover what it was that goes on. So what you will learn about inside Breakthrough to Success are the 9 barriers. These are the things that you can really, really start to get a grip with. I promise you, you will learn so much from this. You learn how to ask questions. You'll learn how to learn a skill quickly. You'll learn how to change beliefs. If you've got a negative belief in any way about self-taping, about acting auditions, about the way you communicate on stage, a way that you communicate with your, let's say, with your agent, anything like that, you know, it will show up in the room. If you've got a belief that says casting directors are out to get me, that will show up in the room, right? It'll show up on your tape on some level, very subtly. It's the resistance that shows up. Okay. Energy, you know, how are you using your energy? Is your energy high enough? Are you eating the right stuff? Are you doing the right thing? Are you exercising enough? Are you breathing properly? Is there enough energy coming into the body now? Do you feel that? Other people, we talk about, you know, relationships, having difficult conversations with agents, difficult conversations with other actors, with producers, with directors. Cover all of that. Okay, motivation, how to get yourself motivated, how to really fire things up. Talk about time. In there's an amazing thing about how you can use time to become incredible at self-taping. It's all in there, totally free. All I need for you is if you drop me a little 1 minute to 2 minute testimonial, video testimonial, you can have that course for free. Okay. I also go into money. I talk about the ways to make multiple streams of income for actors. Tell me that's not useful for an actor. Every single actor I coach these days has a side hustle of some kind, another job that they do. They are cold calling. They are working in call centers, even if it's, you know, even with all the COVID changes, you know, things like that. A lot of stuff is being done online. They still, you know, making money is a really important thing. So let me know if you get this trained. There's a fantastic exercise in this particular thing that will show you ways that you can earn a lot of money right now that you hadn't even thought of. Guarantee it. And of course, fear, the big one, the one that gets in the way. This is the handbrake, really. Often it's the mental handbrake that is going on, right? Yeah. So all you got to do, drop me one of those and you can have that totally now. Just do remember to sign up here and subscribe and pop it on down there. Do tell your friends. I'd love to see you all again. Anyone else wants the free calls, you just go onto my website, www.nickdunning.com, and sign up for the calls. They're so free and they're great. And if any of you haven't taken my free training course, that's on there now, live, 100%. Get out there. It's free. That's there. Go for it. And you know, anyone you want to bring other friends along, come along next week. Next week, what I'm going to be doing, I want to talk about, and I'd love your input on this. Are there specific things, specific topics you want me to cover? You're very welcome, Mike. No problem. Plenty to cogitate. You're absolutely great. Love to Waterford. I went down there. Well, I had a lovely time down there. And do book a call. We'll see you next week. So if any of you want to do that would be great. And tell your friends, speak to you soon. Any other questions, drop me a line. Is there any questions about today while we're here? Anything I can help you with? Anything there? Just let me know. Pop something down there if there is. And, that's what I would suggest is that if there's something you think, I always have this issue about dealing with my agent, or I always get, I overthink a lot, or I don't know how to be successful. I don't know how to think about that kind of thing. These are some of the topics I'm going to be covering. How to think more successfully, how to behave like a successful person, how to win at games, how to win the game of acting, how to connect with people, how to network. All of these things are topics I'm going to be covering Monday, Wednesday, Friday of next week. So please tell your friends, see you soon, have a great weekend, and wash your hands. I wonder how long we'll be doing this. Forever. Take care, guys. God bless. Look after yourself. All the best. Bye now.